Welcome to Cooking with Rod. I got a great recipe for you today, so here we go. Delicious homemade apple pie cookies. Mini apple pies filled with soft sliced apples and rich caramel. Wrap in buttery, flaky crust and baked golden brown. We walk through every step: caramel, filling, pastry, assembly, lattice tops, and baking. These irresistible, fall in every bite treats make the perfect dessert or treat. This recipe comes from Preppy Kitchen and Kanell. Okay, first up we're gonna wash our apples. Then we're gonna peel our apples. Then we're gonna core our apples. We're gonna cube up our apples. Transfer those into a bowl. Add our lemon juice and toss to coat. Now to that we're going to add our sugar. Then we're going to add in our spices. And we're going to toss that real good and set aside till needed. Now we're going to make the caramel. So to a medium-sized pot we're going to add the brown sugar. And we're going to add the butter and the cream and vanilla. Turn that on to medium low. And we're going to whisk that up until it's thickened. Okay, we're going to pour that into a bowl and set that aside until needed. Okay, so now we're going to make our sauce. So melt some butter in a large skillet over medium-high. Okay, we're going to add the apples to the pan. Then we're going to stir that until the sugar dissolves. About 2 minutes. Now we're going to cover that up and reduce the heat to medium-low and cook that for about 7 minutes or until soft. Then we're going to drain any liquid from our apples that has accumulated while they've been sitting there. Put that in a bowl. We're going to need that later. So we're going to return the juices to the pan and simmer over medium until lightly caramelized, about 8 to 10 minutes. Then we're going to return the apples to the pan. And we're going to toss the apples with the reduced juices. Then we're going to strain our apples again. We're going to cool those completely, then remove them to a cutting board and chop them very fine. Then we'll reserve those in a bowl until needed. So we're going to prepare our egg wash before we get started on the dough. So the first thing we're going to add to a bowl is 1 egg, then our cream. Then we're going to whisk that up. Cover it with some plastic wrap and store that in the fridge. We're going to preheat our oven to 350. Okay, I'm not going to explain how to make dough in this recipe, so I will link a recipe to my pie dough down below. We're going to roll our dough till it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. Then using a cookie cutter, we're going to cut circles in the dough. Then we're going to place those on a parchment lined cookie sheet. Then we're going to take the caramel that we strained from the apples and brush that in the very center of our dough circles. Then we're going to add a spoonful of apples onto that. Then we're going to brush the edges of our circles with our egg wash. Now we're going to roll out our second dough. Then we're going to cut that dough into small strips. We're going to form the dough strips into a lattice on top of each cookie. Then we're going to press that in, make sure it's sealed. And now we'll brush the whole cookie with our egg wash. Then we're going to trim any excess dough off with the cutter that we use to cut out the circles. Then we're going to sprinkle the tops with either plain sugar or cinnamon sugar. We're going to bake those in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes until GBD, golden brown and delicious. Then we're going to remove those from the oven. Then we're going to move those to a wire rack to cool. So there you go, apple pie cookies. Okay, so we can place these in an airtight container and store them at room temperature for a day or so. Or we can pop those in the fridge for 3 or 4 days. Okay, if you're going to store them in the freezer, you should flash freeze them on a cookie sheet first. Then we'll place those in a Ziploc bag. Then we're going to label them and freeze them. They'll last for up to 3 months in the freezer. So to reheat those, we'll place them on a baking sheet with parchment paper and put them in the oven for a few minutes until reheated. Or we can put those on a microwave safe plate and microwave those in 30-second increments, testing to see if they're warm. Okay, there you go, apple pie cookies. This recipe down below in the description does include a pastry recipe, or you can use my pie dough recipe from earlier this year. For easy transfer, assemble cookies on the baking sheet that you're going to bake them on. Dough chills quicker if it's wrapped and popped in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes. Slight cinnamon sugar on top adds sparkle and flavor. Apple pie cookies. There you go. Enjoy. Alright, thanks for watching Cooking with Rod. All the ingredient amounts and instructions on how to make this recipe will be down below in the description box. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share with your friends.